Hello everyone, welcome to another Into the Void Real Review. This time we are reviewing Dune 2, the sequel to Dune 1. I bet you didn't see that coming. Which came out in 2021. Dune 1 introduced the spice of life sci-fi space epic back then, and even if it's not technically the first Dune film, it might as well be the first to give it the true introduction it deserves. The award for the actual first Dune film goes to the 1984 David Lynch movie Anomaly that was equal parts weird and mystifying. Remember, that movie had Sting in it. Still, I think in some far-flung corners of pop culture it retains a cult following. Dune 2 is a continuation of the spruced-up reimagining of the much-loved Frank Herbert novels. Dune 1 I did watch in the movie theater back when it came out, and I remember loving the world building, the cinematography, the sound, and even the acting. But I have to admit, where it lost me was in the narrative and the plot. There was a lot of setup with not much going on, besides Paul Atreides having dreams about where he would eventually end up by film's end. And when the action was happening, it wasn't the most exciting scenes on display. Although I did watch it before watching the second Dune a second time around, and I have to say I enjoyed the set pieces much more this time around. We got to see the worms a little bit, but not enough, I still feel. Also, with the first film, I think I wanted a little more David Lynchian weirdness from the 1984 true original than what they portrayed. And in my opinion, Dune has always reminded me of the ugly duckling of the sci-fi epics. It's always been in the shadows of Star Wars and Star Trek. That is until now, though. The roles have reversed, and you're talking to a Star Wars superfan and apologist for the most recent films. Dune is now the king in the sci-fi realm now, and Star Wars has taken a back seat to it in recent years. Dune 2 does everything I wanted the first one to do. It's a stranger, more visceral movie, and it has a lot more action set pieces. And Timothée Chalamet really settles into his role as Paul Atreides in this sequel, making me truly believe he was the best actor for this role. In the first one, he was sort of a spoiled brat, but he was still likable by the movie's end. Don't get me wrong. But here, he's much better and has a great character arc that really helps the movie shine even more. Zendaya is much more prevalent in this one and is just as good, if not better, in her role as Shani. We may be seeing the next generation of leading actors in these two for years to come. They have an enigmatic chemistry that's very convincing. It's not cobbled together or fake.
I'd like to be equal to you.
Maybe I'll show you the way.
Which is awesome in a sci-fi such as this one to see. This is nowhere near the Anakin and Padme debacle we saw in the Star Wars prequels.
I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating, and it gets everywhere.
Speaking on that, haven't you ever wondered why Anakin hates sand so much? Especially since he grew up on Tatooine? Anyway, this series is in good hands with these two leading the way. There are some new additions to the cast, such as Florence Pugh as Princess Irulan, and Austin Butler as Fade Ruatha, the mini Baron who is an anti-hero to Paul Atreides. He's very sinister as a bald, pale man that is seen as the other candidate for the Chosen One, according to the Bene Gesserit witches. The black and white scenes, apparently colors non-existent on the Harkonnen world, bring a stark contrast to the colorful scenes set on the Freeman world. Fade is in a lot of these black and white scenes, which add an extra element of evilness to the proceedings. All the rest of the cast is just as great as they were in the prequel. Yes, Christopher Walken is in this as the Emperor, but he doesn't say a lot and doesn't make much of an impact. That's neither good or bad, but it's serviceable. The real star of the show are the worms, which make their presence known even more in Dune 2. The Fremen ride them like jet skis on an ocean, and it's thrilling to watch. Paul, Muad'Dib, Usul, whatever moniker you want to give him. He has several in this movie. He blows up starships with Shani, and it's really awesome to see on the big screen. The wreckage falls around them, creating danger at every turn. The visual spectacle is truly stunning. Dune 2 is a visual feast for the eyes and begs to be watched on the big screen. This is a beautiful film. I want to say the desert has never been depicted as well as it is here. And don't get me started on sound. You can hear the hum of the technology represented in the suits that the Harkonnens wear, or also the ships that are hovering over the sand dunes. You can feel the worms tunneling underneath the sand right before they emerge to swallow unsuspecting victims. Then there are the ferocious sandstorms that frequent throughout the movie, beating an incessant wailing in your ears. All this sound vibrates to your core, especially if you watch this in a Dolby Enhanced theater, which I got the privilege of experiencing. Touching on one last thing, I will say Dune 2 will be up for the running at year's end for Best Costume Design, among other things as well. But definitely with costume design, I can see it because there's these ominous shrouds that the Bene Gesserit witches wear. And also, there's the suits, both that the Harkonnens and Fremen wear, resembling creepy insects. It's all really cool. All in all, Dune is a movie's movie. One you definitely want to experience on the biggest soundstage with the biggest screen. Go in, be mesmerized, and get lost in a world that Frank Herbert came up with so long ago on the printed page. The cinema has finally caught up with that vision built in our imaginations from reading those books. Go out and see Dune and experience a true sci-fi epic. I give Dune a 10 out of 10. Thanks for watching, and I will see you the next time when we venture into the void.